In this tutorial, we're going to extract the candy bar box by itself as an MA and put it into Photoshop. I'll select it in my model. I'll go to File, Export Selection. I'll choose MA, name it, and direct it to my folder. I'll now go to File, Open, and I'll look for my newly generated MA, and there's my box. Now I want to stand this up vertically as closely as I can. It's not that critical. So I'll select the box, I'll hit W, I'll center my pivot, and then with E on the keyboard, I'm going to start to rotate that so that it is standing on end. And I'm going to use my orthographic views as well to kind of get as close as I can. So if I were to go to my perspective view now, that looks pretty respectable. I'm going to save it. Now the next thing we need to do is export this as a .obj. That's the extension that Photoshop will understand. To make sure the plugin is activated, I'm going to go to Windows, Settings and Preferences, Plugin Manager. And the list is alphabetical. We're looking for OBJ export. So I'm going to go down and there's OBJ export.bundle. I'm going to make sure that there's a check mark next to loaded and auto load. Now I'm ready to export this. With the object selected, I'll go to File, Export Selection, name my file, and then at the bottom of the files and types list, I will see OBJ export. And I'll export my selection. Next, we'll be opening our .obj in Photoshop. I'm going to go to File, Open in Photoshop, and I'm looking for a .obj file. I'll go to my folder, I'll select the OBJ and click on Open, and it'll prompt me to make some changes or resolution changes. It'll prompt me to set some parameters if I choose. I'm going to leave the default width of 11, the height 8.5, and the resolution at 200, and then I'll click OK. And it'll open up the box minus its texture map. So the next thing we need to do is reintroduce our texture. And to do so, we're going to need two windows inside the Photoshop user interface. I'll go to Window, and I'll choose 3D, and then I'll go to Window one more time, and I will go to Properties. And I'm going to put them side by side because I'll need to click on one window to access the feature of the other. So in the 3D window, I'm going to click on the third icon from the right. And when I do, the Properties window will show me something similar to the node inside of the Photoshop Hypershade. And inside of Photoshop, instead of a color tab, you're going to be seeing a diffuse tab, and that's where our texture map will come in. There's a little folder at the end of that diffuse box. I'll click on the little folder and I'll choose Replace Texture. I'm going to go out to my project folder and I'm going to select the candy bar skin. Now I've converted mine into a JPEG to minimize my file size. You can import the PSD from your original 3D Maya model if you choose. Once I click on Open, it introduces the texture for me. Now that I've put my texture on, I'm going to go to the 3D window again, and I'm going to select the second icon in on the right in the 3D window, and when I do, there is a duplicate of it over in the Properties window. I'm going to click on the little cube to the very middle between that icon and the word Mesh, and I'm going to click on Reset Coordinates and then Move to Ground. And Next, I'm going to go to 3D, Export 3D Layer. Now, up where it says 3D File Format, I'm going to choose u3D. I'll now click OK. I'll name it, and then I'll direct it to my folder and save. Now, in this part of the tutorial, I'm going to introduce it into a test Acrobat PDF. We'll go over this in class, but it's a good idea perhaps if you look at this just to familiarize yourself with the process. While in Adobe Acrobat, I'm going to click on Tools. I'm going to create a PDF. Down at the bottom of the list on the left, you'll see Blank Page. Select Blank Page and hit Create. Now, I'm going to zoom back on the window so that I can see the full size of it. I'm using Command- on the keyboard. Now that I've got a page made, I'm going to go back to Tools, and I'm going to click on the little green icon that says Add Rich Media. It looks like a piece of film. And when I click on that, it gives me a series of tools at the top of my PDF. I'm going to click on Add 3D. Now with my left mouse, I'll drag a selection box of any size, and when I let go, a window will prompt me to search for that u3D that we just created. I'll click on Choose. I'll go out to my folder, and I'll select the u3D file, and it'll put it in my window. Now, in order to activate the virtual features, I'll click on the page, and a yellow bar appears at the top. I'll go to the word Options. I'll click, hold down, and choose Trust this document one time. I'll click on the file, and now with my left mouse I can rotate, and with my right mouse I can zoom in and out. You'll also see a default toolbar pop up here with all the different tools that are available. Some don't have keyboard quicks. You can also go down here to this little desk lamp, and if you click on that and go to CAD Optimize Lights, you'll see that your model might be a little bit more well lit. Now, this is for the user end, so who's ever at the other end would have this. So it's really not necessary for you to play around with this, but you'll see now that we've got that virtual file. This will be embedded in the collective PDF once we're finished with our 4 renders, our animation, and then the u3D. They will all comprise 6 pages in a final interactive PDF. And there'll be a tutorial for that as well.